All right, welcome. Today we are diving deep into one of the most ancient and honestly one of the most mysterious rituals out there, the new moon offering. But what if this wasn't just some historical practice? What if, hidden right there in the Zohar's description of this monthly event, is a precise, incredibly high-level spiritual technology? I'm talking about a cosmic maintenance protocol designed to keep the very architecture of our reality in balance. Okay, let's get into this. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start at the scene of the crime, so to speak, the altar itself. Then we're going to uncover who or what is on the receiving end of a very mysterious part of that offering. From there, we'll jump into a really cool modern tech analogy to help us grasp the core principle. Then we'll map that onto the cosmic blueprint, the Sephirot, and finally, we're going to bring all this ancient wisdom right into our modern lives with some super practical ways to think about it.
Okay, so first let's just set the scene. I want you to picture this. The night sky is just profoundly dark. The moon is gone, it's a void just waiting to be refilled, and then you see it, a sliver. Just this impossibly thin crescent starts to glow. And down on the ground, in the sacred space of the temple, the priests are moving with this incredible purpose. A goat offering, a seir, is brought forward. The air is thick with solemnity. You have to understand, this isn't just a ritual. This is a cosmic transaction of the highest order, and it's happening at the most vulnerable and also the most potent moment of the entire month.
And the Zohar itself kicks off its whole discussion with these exact words, at the head of each and every month. This right here establishes the rhythm, the pulse of this entire cosmic process. It's not a one-time thing. It's a cyclical reset, a scheduled maintenance that has to happen with the precision of a celestial clock. Every single time the moon empties itself out, this protocol gets initiated. That tells you just how important this monthly rhythm really is.
Now here's where we see the critical move. As the essence of this offering is ascending, a very specific part of it isn't directed inward and upward, toward the heart of the sanctuary. No, it's deliberately placed outward. It's pushed toward the periphery, right to the edge of the altar, almost like you're feeding something that's just lurking there in the shadows. There's this clear separation happening, a sorting of energy. Most of it goes up, but this one carefully measured piece, it goes somewhere else. And that begs the obvious question, why? And to whom?
That deliberate outward placement, that brings us right to the heart of this whole mystery. See, that portion isn't a mistake. It's not a leftover or a waste product. It is a strategic allocation. It's all about feeding an outer force in order to protect the sanctity of the inner core. Now, that is a profound concept. The idea that sometimes, to protect what's most holy, you actually have to engage with and satisfy a force that exists on the outside. It's kind of like cosmic diplomacy, a payment you make to ensure peace and stability for the whole system.
And this is the central question the Zohar itself puts on the table. It's not just us asking. The Zohar is like, okay, if this is a deliberate payment, who's the recipient? Who is this entity or this force that's so significant that it requires a piece of a sacred offering every single month without fail? The answer to this is what unlocks the entire mechanism. And it's not some vague idea of evil. It's a very, very specific cosmic principle with a name and a job. The recipient has a name. Ketz Kol Basar. It translates to the end of all flesh. This is the cosmic force that, governs the entire domain of the physical. Think of it as the operating system for the body, the goof, with all of its desires, its limitations, and its eventual decay. But notice its jurisdiction here. This is key. It's the end of all flesh, but it has absolutely zero claim on the soul, the neshama. It's the principle of raw physical judgment, what the Kabbalists call din. Its archetype is the goat, the seer, which actually shares a root with Esau, the master of the physical world. This force demands its payment, but only from its own domain, the flesh.
Okay, now to really wrap our heads around how this works, let's pull it out of the ancient world for a minute and use a modern analogy. I want you to stop thinking of it as an ancient mystery and start thinking of it as a brilliant piece of metaphysical security design. We're going to call this the Sephirotic sandbox. And this framing really makes the elegance of this ancient solution just click.
So in computer science, a sandbox is basically a secure, isolated little playpen where you can run programs you don't fully trust. You give that program exactly the resources it needs to do its job, and absolutely nothing more. You build a wall around it, separating it from the core operating system, the kernel, so there's no way it can cause a system-wide crash. Well, the Rosh Chodesh offering does exactly this. It allocates a measured, controlled resource, that portion of the goat, to the end of all flesh subsystem. This satisfies its needs, it keeps it contained in its designated sandbox, and it prevents it from ever trying to access the protected kernel of the soul. Let's just break this comparison down a little more. On one side, you've got the core system. That's the soul. It's the protected kernel. It's designed to receive this unrestricted flow of pure divine energy, or shefa. Its whole job is to connect to the infinite. Now, on the other side, you've got the sandbox app. That's the flesh. It's a contained subsystem that runs on limited, allocated resources. Its function is physical judgment, din, and its job is to govern the finite world. The whole point of the ritual is to maintain the integrity of that firewall between them, to make sure the sandboxed app never gets kernel-level permissions.
Okay, so with that sandbox analogy locked in, let's now look at the actual cosmic blueprint. We're going to map this monthly resource allocation onto the divine emanations, the Sephirot, to see exactly how this energy transaction flows through the entire system. This is where we get into the real nitty-gritty of the spiritual mechanics.
Let's walk through this protocol step by step. First up, Malkut. This is the Sephirah that represents our physical world, and it's personified by the moon. It darkens. It completely empties itself of the last month's light, which creates this state of vulnerability, sure, but also a state of readiness for a total system reboot. Second, the energy from the goat offering gets channeled up to Yesod, the foundation. Yesod acts like the great spiritual junction box. Its job is to sort and divide the energy, separating the refined spiritual essence from the raw physical component. Third, and this is the critical move, that raw portion gets shunted over to the left side of the Sephirotic tree, straight to Gevurah. Gevurah is the sphere of judgment, of severity. This is where the force of Ketz Kol Basar gets its paycheck. The red din, that raw physical judgment, is satisfied, and because it's satisfied, it's contained. And finally, with that disruptive frequency handled, the central column is now totally clear, pure divine mercy. What we can call the white light from Tiferet, the sphere of harmony and balance, can flow right down, unimpeded, to renew Malkut and restore the moon's light for the whole month ahead.
The entire system, this whole beautiful mechanism, is built on the fundamental separation of two domains, the soul, neshama, and the body, guf. And you just cannot use the same protocol for both. It doesn't work. The soul runs on the principles of pure shefa, that divine flow. The body, on the other hand, runs on the principles of din, limitation and judgment. The absolute genius of this monthly ritual is that it services both domains according to their own specific needs, making sure that the necessary operations of the physical world don't corrupt or interfere with the primary mission of the spiritual world. It is the ultimate expression of cosmic balance.
So you see, this isn't just some abstract mystical theory. It's a user manual for our own lives. So the question becomes, how do we translate this incredible ancient wisdom into a modern, actionable framework? Well, we can think about it in a couple of different ways, really, depending on your mindset.
All right, let's try the video game version first. Think of your physical nature, your own personal Ketz Kol Basar, as this powerful but kind of chaotic shadow character in your party. Once a month, you have to complete a simple quest. Feed it a specific, low-cost snack. If you do it, it stays a powerful ally. But if you neglect it, it goes rogue and starts attacking your main base, your soul's purpose. It's a simple mechanic, but it's essential for game balance. Now for the cosmic engineering mindset. Your body and all its needs are like a legacy subsystem that handles all the low-level physical processes. It's necessary, for sure, but it's also resource-intensive, and it's constantly generating error flags in the form of physical judgments and limitations. If you just ignore it, those errors can cascade and cause a system-wide crash. So you perform scheduled maintenance. You consciously allocate a controlled budget of time, energy, and resources to the subsystem. This satisfies its requirements, keeps it running smoothly in the background, and ensures the architectural integrity of your entire being isn't compromised.
So let's just bring this all together. The Rosh Chodesh offering is so much more than a primitive ritual. It's a highly sophisticated piece of spiritual technology. Its core function is to strategically feed and, by feeding, contain the cosmic force of physical judgment. That simple action creates a protected channel for the pure flow of divine energy to come in and nourish the soul. The mechanism underneath it all is this brilliant separation of the domains of body and soul, treating each one with its own unique protocol. And the grand principle, the thing we can really take away from all this, is this idea of strategic allocation. It's like a master key for managing that timeless tension between spirit and matter in our own lives.
And so this brings us to the final, crucial question that I want to leave you with. Look at your own life as an operating system. What is your flesh side? Your physical health, your worldly responsibilities, your material needs. Are you just ignoring them until they cause a system crash? Or can you apply this principle? How can you consciously and strategically allocate resources, your time, your energy, your attention, to that part of your life, not as a distraction from your soul's purpose, but as the very maintenance protocol that protects it and allows it to flourish? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.